Hi, I'm Rebecca Balcárcel with Writers on Writing. Let's talk to Adrianna Cuevas, who's an author and educator.
You mentioned a little bit about your process. So, could you talk about drafting and
Mhm.
how you managed to get through that first draft? I know my students really struggle, and I struggle with the blank screen,
Mhm.
uh, and then keeping going. So, advice for drafting?
Honestly, writing a first draft is hands down the most difficult part of the writing process for me. I adore revision. I would revise my books all day, even if it means I'm like completely rewriting. Um, but for me, drafting is tough for multiple reasons. One, um, I'm a perfectionist. I want to get it right the first time, which means a lot of times I sit and stare at that screen because I'm afraid of making a mistake. Um, and I've had to actually train myself to be okay with bad writing, to be okay with typing something, writing, having a writing session, knowing that it's awful. These are the worst words that have ever been strung together in the English language. I will probably lose my job if they get published. Like, I am going to have to fix these. But like we always say, and I know it's a common adage, you can't revise a blank page. You have to get something down. And so if it's the worst writing you have ever done, you know what? Celebrate it because you got it on the page. And I've had to do that a lot of just being okay with being the worst writer on the face of the earth, because as I go through revisions, I will become a better writer. And so for me, it's almost like a mental, I have to tell myself that every time I sit down to write. It's okay if this is a bad writing session. It's okay if, these are just terrible words. You can fix them later. I also, so I have ADHD, so there are various things that I need to do to help me with that first draft. I think that's why I find first drafts so difficult, because they're just this big, it's this vacuous nothing in the universe, and I'm trying to pull down whatever words. At least with revision, the words are there. It's more specific. I have something to focus on. So for me, I absolutely have to set myself a deadline. A lot of times, if we're just drafting a book, it's not like an editor is really waiting for this. So I have to give myself an arbitrary deadline of, yes, I am going to finish this draft by this date. Or sometimes I need to chop that down even further and say, hey, I'm going to finish drafting these 10 chapters by this date. And just work towards that. Reward yourself when you hit
Oh,
that deadline. That's important. You always want to have something you're working towards. Um, but then also, sometimes for me, I have to set myself a word count goal for the day. There are some authors that set a time goal. That doesn't really work for me because, like I said, I have ADHD. I can waste an hour like nobody's business and get 10 words down. For me, it's a little more, I'm more driven if I know, you know what, I wanted to write 2,000 words today. I don't care how long it takes me. It might take me 2 hours. It might take me 8 hours. It depends on how my brain is doing that day. But having a goal like that really, really helps me. So for me, setting really small, attainable goals is what gets me through a first draft. The other thing that gets me through a first draft is making sure that I have everything ready to go in order to write that first draft. Have I done all the research that I need to do? Do I have my outline ready so I even know what I'm supposed to be writing in this first draft? Having that all prepared and ready to go is going to make your writing time a lot more productive. Now, are there times when I'm drafting and I realize I kind of hit a point where, oops, I should have researched that and now I need to stop? Yes. But overall, make sure that you've done all that work ahead of time so that you really can just dive in and draft.
oh, thank you. Yeah, that is super helpful. I'm going to do some of those things myself. Thank you.